Imagine this. A system for government jobs that's been around for decades, something people rely on, is suddenly thrown into complete chaos. We're talking protests, anger, and the futures of thousands of young people just frozen. But is this just a massive bureaucratic blunder? Or is there something else going on? Is it a deliberate distraction? Let's get into it.
Just let that sink in for a second. For 50 years, half a century, there was a clear, predictable set of rules. Then, boom, it's all up in the air. The chaos that followed forces us to ask this really critical question, and it's pretty much what this whole explainer is about. What is really going on here?
Okay, so to get our heads around why this is all happening, we first have to look at how it all went down. And trust me, this wasn't some slow-burning issue. It was a sudden, massive explosion.
Right. So, for 50 years, the rules were stable. Everyone knew where they stood. Then, October 2025 hits, and this new open recruitment policy just drops out of nowhere. The very first set of results to come out under this new system, for medical officers, immediately sets off a firestorm. Just a month later, the cabinet is already scrambling to react. The thing to really grasp here is the speed. This was a sudden, deeply disruptive change to a long-standing system.
And this quote, "This is the spark that lit the fuse." As soon as the results were out, civil society groups jumped on them, analyzed the numbers, and sounded the alarm. They claimed there was this massive violation of the job reservation policy, and they pointed to this incredibly lopsided distribution of jobs between different communities.
And look, these aren't just some abstract numbers on a chart. This data is the absolute heart of the grievance. It's what fueled the protests. Seeing a 19% allocation for one group versus 53% for another, well, that became the rallying cry for thousands who felt the system had been rigged against them overnight.
So, to really get why people were so angry, we need to dig into the rules themselves and figure out what actually changed.
At its core, what we're talking about is the job reservation roster. Now, this isn't just a simple list. Think of it as a mechanism, a tool designed to make sure things are fair, to ensure representation in government jobs based on quotas that were set long time ago. It's supposed to bring clarity and equity to the whole process.
This here captures the conflict perfectly. On one side, you had the system that people knew and understood for 50 years. On the other, you've got this new, confusing, open policy. This sudden shift created what the source material called a confused, litigious mess. It basically replaced a predictable process with something that critics felt was totally unclear and, frankly, unjust.
So, what actually happens in the real world when a critical system like public hiring just grinds to a halt? Well, the impact is immediate, and it's deeply, deeply human.
And here's the crucial point, the real-world cost. Thousands of young people are now just stuck in limbo. The entire recruitment process is frozen because of all the controversy and legal challenges. For them, the dream of a stable government job has turned into this endless, frustrating, and angry waiting game.
And the fallout, wow, it spreads way beyond just unemployment. It's paralyzing the government because essential jobs aren't being filled. And maybe most critically, it turns the whole issue of jobs into a flashpoint for communal tension. It's pitting groups against each other, and of course, fueling massive public protests.
This brings us to the most critical part of this whole thing. We've seen what happened. Now we really have to ask why. Was this all just a simple, colossal mistake, or is there something more going on beneath the surface?
So the first possibility to consider is just pure incompetence, right? Could it be that the administration is simply incapable of managing what should be a pretty straightforward, fundamental government process? Just a total failure of basic bureaucracy.
But what if it's not about incompetence? The question gets a lot deeper. Is this whole fight really about creating new opportunities for people, or is it becoming an increasingly bitter conflict over a pool of government jobs that isn't even growing and might actually be shrinking?
And that really leads us to the ultimate question. Why is all this political energy, all this public anger, all this administrative focus being poured into arguing over how to slice up what is, in the grand scheme of things, a very small pie?
And there it is, the final, really provocative question that changes how you see this whole thing. Is this entire painful chaos over the job roster just a smokescreen? A manufactured conflict designed to distract all of us from a much, much bigger failure? The inability to grow the economy and create a thriving private sector that offers real jobs and opportunities for everyone.